continue with Joe Biden's tricky Thursday and bring in our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Hello to you, Doug. Joe Biden, not just being thwarted on his pandemic fight, he's really having a hard time on multiple fronts, isn't he?
He really is, Will. It's almost becoming a sort of existential struggle, as Joe Biden might see it, in his bid, his ambition, really, to uphold and safeguard the norms of American democracy. I know that sounds dramatic or melodramatic, but it really, in the minds of Biden and many Democrats, it really is down to that. And perhaps nothing exemplifies this struggle more, almost existential, as I said, than the voting rights battle. Joe Biden has just suffered yet another body blow to his agenda, and it hasn't come from the Republican Party. The immediate cause is from within the ranks of his own Democratic Party, and notably the two moderate senators that have become sort of almost worldwide household names, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, Kyrsten Sinema from Arizona. And basically, they've both come out saying that they are against changing the Senate voting rules, that is eliminating a practice called the filibuster that would allow the Democrats to get this voting rights legislation through. Now, the upshot of that is, yes, it is moderate Democrats who have, in the immediate short term, stymied his efforts to pass the bill. But let's not fool ourselves. It's the fact the entire Republican Party practically is against this voting rights legislation, and the fact that these moderate Democrats almost feel compelled to hew to a much more conservative Republican line, even though they're Democrats, that has been the voting rights legislations, if not undoing, at least hardship. Look, the Supreme Court itself has been snipping away at whittling down the Voting Rights Act legislation, the landmark civil rights era legislation of 1965. It's been doing it in the past decade or so. And what you effectively have today, if these bills are unable to pass, and it's not being dramatic, it will not just be harder to cast a ballot, but it will be easier, essentially, to steal an election. And why is that? Because the restrictions and the rules being put in place by more and more Republican-controlled, Republican-led state houses across the United States, in more and more states, are making it easier to take away control of elections and oversight of elections from nonpartisan officials and putting it in the hands of more partisan, party-driven, motivated people, i.e., in this case, the Republican Party. So it's very tough for Biden. Let's not forget, this all comes on top of the Supreme Court, now with a 6-3 conservative majority, weakening the right to an abortion, if not doing away with it entirely, at least not yet. And also the fact that even though Biden did pass early on his $1.2 trillion infrastructure jobs legislation, a milestone piece of a bill, if ever there was one, his other one, his more ambitious perhaps, climate and social safety net legislation, Build Back Better, almost $2 trillion, that's in limbo. That is stalled, once again, for the same reasons, because within his own party, two moderate Democrats are hewing to a Republican line and refusing really to get behind it.
Yeah, and that makes it look like things might get bleaker, especially after the November midterm elections.
Yeah, if you think the wall of Republican resistance to Biden's agenda is quite solid and daunting right now, just wait till after November. The smart money, and it's not even that smart, even the dumb money, is on the Republicans sweeping and winning control of both houses of Congress. Now, you might say it's happened before. It has. Obama faced the same thing in 2010. The Republicans took control of both houses of Congress. Obama's agenda was stymied. But I would say that this will almost, after November, will make Obama's dilemma after 2010 almost look like a cakewalk by comparison. Joe Biden is not just facing the prospect of a Republican-controlled Congress. We see already how much his agenda is stymied without Republican control of both houses. But we're already hearing murmurs in Washington of impeachment proceedings against Joe Biden, of basically a turning of the tables and basically Republicans doing the bidding of Donald Trump. Some would say, especially in the Democratic Party, the vindictive bidding of Donald Trump, and calling everyone to hearings and basically grinding Biden's entire agenda to a halt ahead of 2024 elections. So, yeah, it's going to look much bleaker. It's not really a prediction. It's almost the writing is on the wall right now today. Once the Republicans take control of Congress, you can be sure they will feel very emboldened and they will stop at nothing at any cost to not just destroy Biden's presidency, but the future prospects of Democrats coming to power in 2024 and beyond.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. Douglas Herbert, France 24's international affairs commentator.